So Caleb Williams made sure to note how excited he is to attend Elite 11 this year, especially under the circumstances, and we got to talk about it after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You got to help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time today. I want to talk about Caleb Williams, who spoke in his, well, didn't speak. He wrote down in his blog what he thought of earning his invitation to the Elite 11 finals, which begin on June 29th, which is to say it's not just another camp. He takes it very seriously. He even called it a fraternity, for which I guess. Top quarterbacks get invited. They go. The winners are usually decent. They're not the best. And while that is what he's trying to achieve, I'm saying that we shouldn't put a whole lot into who wins it and more into who got invited. And on the list is not just J.J. McCarthy, Brock Vandegrift, Garrett Nussmeier, but also, yes, Kyle McCord, Caleb Williams, and on it goes. Now, Caleb Williams goes into this thing ranked as the number one quarterback in the 2021 class, and that's not a small feat, especially when you take into account just how loaded this quarterback class is. But even as loaded as this quarterback class is, he's the only top 10 prospect at quarterback. That should tell you a lot about what the 247 Rivals and ESPN, recruiting analysts believe is going on with him and what he could be. Now, I thought it was particularly interesting that this goes on June 29th. It lasts for 3 days. It means it's over July 1st. It means there's a 72-hour window in there where we're going to know who won the Elite 11 and Caleb Williams' impending commitment announcement, which takes place on July the 4th, in which place he expects fireworks to go off, and we expect him to not just be the only commit, but followed by who knows how many commits to Oklahoma, and that's really the big thing. You could really see some momentum turning in this thing if he, one, goes in and has a good showing, two, wins the whole doggone thing, and then three, commits to Oklahoma. With Garrett Nussmeier already having been committed to LSU, that kind of removes one off the board for me because I did this thing where I went through the last 10 years to look at how many times a five-star quarterback has been joined by another five-star quarterback in the same class, and it's happened once. It happened with Florida, right? Is Jeff Driscoll and Jacoby Brissett? It's weird. But also, it's not uncommon for a five-star and a four-star to join, and that doesn't happen all that often, right? Jacoby Brissett and, Jeff Driscoll. That's it, right? Actually, Driscoll's the five-star, Jacoby Brissett's the four-star. Never happened with two five-stars. And Garrett Nussmeier is not a five-star, so I don't even know why I brought that up. I'm getting already kind of flustered on this. But I point this out to say, it's possible that you could end up with LSU having the five-star and the four-star, but I highly doubt it. I know that LSU stands think very highly of LSU, but seeing as you took two quarterbacks in the 2020 class, you're already kind of loaded over there, and I mean loaded as in the room, not necessarily in the talent, though TJ Finley could end up surprising the hell out of everybody, and Max Johnson has great pedigree in that he's Brad Johnson's son, and this is all behind Miles Brennan. So we'll see what that means. Now, for Maryland, who's the third finalist on his list, they already took in Talia Tagovailoa in May, who's in the 2019 class, but also has to sit out this year, which means he becomes eligible the year that Caleb Williams is a true freshman. And Lance Lejeune is already going to have been there for 3 years. Matter of fact, Spencer Rattler's getting to start this year, we think, if Tanner Mordecai doesn't beat him out. In which case, that's what we expected Lance to do, but now Lance is going to spend another year behind Josh Jackson, and we're going to see if Talia can actually beat him out, because that's why Mike Locksley brought him in, and it feels like Lance Lejeune is ready for the challenge over there. I think that Williams would want to go play at the place that has had 3 quarterbacks drafted in the first 2 rounds of the draft in consecutive years. The only school to do that in the common draft era. When we say common draft era, we mean the NFL and the AFL become the NFL, and everybody gets drafted to the NFL, as opposed to the AFL having their draft, the NFL having their draft, and then you actually have folks that are going to, steal Otis Taylor out of a hotel room while he's being guarded by the Dallas Cowboys so that he can side with the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a thing that actually happened. It's actually one of my favorite stories of all time. And we got Al Davis stories for days on all this stuff. But all this to say, Williams is setting this thing up to get some tremendous momentum going for Oklahoma that they desperately need. Because with 8 commits in the class, and you got some high value 4 stars and you got a 5-star according to some, it's not according to 247, but can't break into the top 100 of the 247 and Mario Williams. But you got Ethan Downs already in the boat, right? Think the world of Clayton Smith, who you've heard on this channel. He's in the boat. This could be the first 5-star and maybe the second if Kamara Wheaton decides to choose Oklahoma, and then you might have a little bit of momentum. I think you're going to need to get Caleb Williams and Kamara Wheaton in the boat just to have a shot at a top 10 finish with this class, because it's going to be so loaded with so many defensive linemen, edge rusher types. I mean, Nathan Rollins-Kaibonge, Isaiah Coe, Clayton Smith, Ethan Downs. We'll see what happens with Kelvin Gilliam. We'll see what happens with Marcus Burris. I mean, they're in on so many defensive linemen that I'm going, okay, what are you going to do at running back? Because you want to take perhaps 2, but I would even say 3, because you wanted 2 in the last class and you ended up with just Seth McGowan, with Jason McClellan being carted off like stolen groceries to Alabama. Now, if you get a Kamara Wheaton and an LJ Johnson and Donovan Edwards, you're going to be happy with that. But the likelihood of you getting those things without a Caleb Williams in the boat, I think, is really not on the table. You're also looking at Cody Jackson still being the highest ranked commit in this 2021 class, and he's not even top 50. He's barely outside of it at number 51, but you get my point there. You would love to have some top 25 recruits. Now, that's not to say that every top 25 recruit is the same, or even top 30 recruit, because Robert Barnes ranked number 27 in the 2017 class. Devontae Smith ranked behind him. Dylan Moses ranked behind him. T. Higgins ranked behind him. Grant Delpit ranked behind him. You understand what I'm getting at there. But you have a better chance of putting together a national championship caliber football team the closer you can get to that, 100% of the blue chip ratio. As we found with Bud Elliott's blue chip ratio, there's a marker, right? You can't win in this era with 49% of your class or lower being blue chip, 4 or 5-star. 50% or above, you got a shot. Once you get into the 60 range, we get to entertain you for college football playoff like in earnest. Oklahoma's at 63 along with LSU and Florida. But then there's the super class, right? Which is like 77, 80% more than that. That's Alabama, that's Georgia, Ohio State. You understand what it is. So not just for the short term of trying to win the team rankings race or finish in the top 10 or finish in the top 5, but so that you can put together one of these blue chip ratio classes over a 4-year span that get you closer to 75, 80% in that mark. And then you can really start to go after national championships and not just make the college football playoff and get housed by LSU 63-28 or get embarrassed by Alabama by going down 28-0 in the first quarter, or give up a 17-point lead in the second half against Georgia in the Rose Bowl. That's the other reason why this Caleb Williams situation totally matters. It really does. Because the sooner you get him in, the more you can recruit to it, the more you could probably get kids in the boat. If anything, if Caleb Williams were to commit to Oklahoma, I would have wanted him to commit like 3-4 months ago following the Brock Vandagriff decommitment, because I think that would have helped Oklahoma in the short term, especially in this age of pandemic where Ohio State has been filling the boat. North Carolina's been filling the boat. Clemson's been filling the boat. Tennessee's been filling the boat. Oregon has been filling the boat. Matter of fact, Oregon has more 5-stars right now than Oklahoma. Let that sit for a second, okay? Troy Franklin, composite 5-star. Oklahoma still waiting on Caleb Williams, Kamara Wheaton to try to get this done. Meanwhile, Oregon's already a top 10 team ranking team, and they could probably still finish there with the way that they've been recruiting here of late. It matters, right? When the kids decide to commit matters as much as where they commit and who follows them, and getting your quarterback in earlier rather than later is going to help you tremendously. I think that's another reason why Garrett Nussmeier pulling the trigger at the start of May is helping LSU recruit into June. That's how this stuff really goes down. That's how that stuff really works. Also, in the age of the pandemic, the more guys that you can loudly yell we have coming our way, the better off you are in this age of optics, because you can't take on-campus visits, so everything's got to be a virtual visit, and we have to show you what it's going to be about before we can actually get you on the campus to let you feel what it's about. And in this day, when we don't know how many visitors that programs are going to be allowed to take in, if the kids even get to take all 5 of their officials, it's going to matter. I would not be surprised to find out that the kids can take their officials, but that you limit the number of unofficials to like 9 or something arbitrary and stupid and low, just to try to keep the spread of COVID down. So the sooner you get a kid in the boat, the sooner that the fireworks go off, the better off I think you are as we approach December, because we're not, once again in a phase where nobody is optimistic about a college football season going all the way through 12 games without a hiccup where somebody can't play without their best squad or their best players. I mean, we had 30 LSU players test positive for the COVID. Stuff matters. All right, that's it for me. Doses.